You are standing on open grassland in what is now Southern California, 10,000 years ago. The air smells like dry grass and something dead nearby. And two animals are about to meet that have never met before and will never meet again, because one of them is about to make a mistake that its entire body was not built to survive. On your left, 250 pounds of African lion, the most successful large predator alive on Earth today. On your right, 600 pounds of Smilodon fatalis, saber teeth 11 inches long, forelimbs that can pin a bison to the ground, an animal that has been killing things in this valley for hundreds of thousands of years. Most people pick Smilodon before the fight starts. The data has a different answer. And the reason it goes the way it goes will change how you think about what a weapon actually is. The lion. Body weight, 200 to 250 pounds for a large male. Bite force, 650 pounds per square inch. Top speed, 50 miles per hour over short distances. Sustains chase speed, around 30 miles per hour for up to a quarter mile. Primary weapons, retractable claws on all four limbs and a jaw designed for sustained gripping pressure at the throat or muzzle. Secondary advantage, flexible spine that allows rapid directional change mid-movement. Battle experience, lions fight other lions, hyenas, leopards, and buffalo with regularity. They absorb damage and continue. They have scar tissue. The lion is not the largest predator alive today. It is the most experienced fighter alive today. There is a difference. And in this specific context, that difference matters more than almost any other variable. Smilodon fatalis. Body weight, 500 to 600 pounds, significantly heavier than the lion. Bite force, approximately 230 pounds per square inch when the jaw was open wide enough to use the sabers. 1/3 of the lion's bite force. Repeat that, 1/3. Top speed. Estimates based on limb proportions suggest around 30 miles per hour over short distances. Not built for extended pursuit. Primary weapon. Saber teeth 11 inches long, flat, serrated, and extraordinarily sharp. Designed for a single, precise downward stabbing motion into the throat or base of the skull of immobilized prey. Secondary advantage. Forelimb muscle mass significantly exceeding the lion's, built for pinning and controlling large, struggling animals. Here is the critical data point that most videos skip entirely. Smilodon's saber teeth were built like kitchen knives, flat in cross-section, thin relative to their length, extraordinarily sharp on the edges, and specifically, structurally, catastrophically vulnerable to lateral force. A sideways impact on those teeth during active struggle could snap them at the base. And a Smilodon with broken sabers is a Smilodon that cannot hunt, cannot eat, cannot survive. This is not a minor detail. This is the architectural constraint that every single thing Smilodon did was built around avoiding. Its entire hunting strategy, its entire behavioral repertoire, its entire body plan existed to solve one problem. How do you use a weapon that destroys itself if the target moves at the wrong moment? The answer Smilodon evolved was to make sure the target did not move. Ambush. Overwhelm with forelimb strength. Pin completely. Then, and only then, deploy the teeth into soft tissue with controlled precision. The lion's entire fighting style is built around exactly the kind of movement that breaks those teeth. Phase 1. The encounter. It is midday. The grassland is open with scattered trees along a dry riverbed 40 meters to the east. The lion has been following a scent trail that led here. It rounds a low scrub formation and stops. The Smilodon is already there. It has been resting in the shade of a rock outcrop, partially hidden, and it has detected the lion's approach before the lion detected it. This is the first information advantage of the fight, and it belongs to Smilodon. It has had more time to assess. Both animals stop. Neither charges. This is important. Neither of these animals is reckless. Both are apex predators with enough intelligence and enough survival instinct to read a situation before committing to it. And what both animals are doing right now is the same thing. They are calculating. The lion reads the Smilodon the way it reads every unfamiliar animal. It checks for movement patterns, for body posture signals, for behavioral cues that tell it whether this animal is a threat or prey or a competitor to be intimidated and driven off. The lion has done this with hyenas and leopards and other lions. It has a deep library of fight experience to reference. The Smilodon has no library entry for a lion. This animal does not exist in its ecosystem. It has never encountered this body plan, this movement pattern, this set of behavioral signals before. And an ambush predator that cannot categorize a target is an ambush predator that cannot run its standard protocol. This is the lion's first advantage. Not size, not speed, familiarity with uncertainty. The lion does not freeze when it encounters the unfamiliar. It has fought too many different animals in too many different contexts to freeze. It reads the Smilodon's mass, it reads the teeth, and it does something that every experienced fighter does when facing an unknown opponent for the first time. It takes a step sideways. Phase 2, the first attack. The Smilodon initiates, not because it is aggressive, because it is an ambush predator and the window for ambush is closing. Every second the lion spends reading the situation is a second the distance between them is not being closed on Smilodon's terms. And Smilodon needs to close distance on its own terms or the entire weapon system fails before it fires. It comes forward fast, not at full sprint, a controlled acceleration designed to close the gap before the lion can fully process and respond. Its forelimbs are already in the position they take before a pinning strike. Its head is slightly lowered. The sabers are visible and forward. The lion does not run. Running is not in its standard response to a frontal approach from a single animal. It drops its weight slightly. It turns its body at an angle, and it watches the Smilodon's forelimbs because the forelimbs are where the information is. When the forelimbs commit to a direction, the attack is readable, and a readable attack is a dodgeable attack. The Smilodon closes to within 4 meters and launches. Both forelimbs forward, 600 pounds of mass behind them, aimed at the lion's shoulders to drive it to the ground. The lion moves left, not far, 30 centimeters, enough. The Smilodon's right forelimb catches the lion's left shoulder rather than pinning it squarely. The lion goes down and sideways rather than straight down. It is briefly on the ground, but it is not pinned. And unpinned is the only thing that matters right now. Phase 3, the turning point. The lion is on the ground for approximately 1 second. In that second, the Smilodon is repositioning, trying to get the pin it needs before it can deploy the teeth. And the lion, which has spent years fighting animals that outweigh it and has the healed bone fractures to prove it, does something that its body is specifically built to do. It twists. The lion's spine has a flexibility that Smilodon's does not. Where Smilodon is built for forward force, for driving weight downward onto immobilized prey, the lion is built for rapid rotational movement. It can change the orientation of its body faster than Smilodon can track and reposition. And as it twists on the ground, it brings its rear legs up. A lion's rear legs are not just running equipment, they are weapons. Each paw carries retractable claws that can gut an animal in a single raking stroke. Lions use this technique against hyenas, against other lions, against anything that gets close to their underbody. It is called raking, and it is the most damaging thing a lion's body can produce in close quarters. The Smilodon drives forward, trying to establish the pin, and the lion's rear legs meet it, both claws raking across the Smilodon's face and chest in rapid alternating strokes. Not precision strikes, controlled chaos, designed to produce exactly the thing that Smilodon cannot afford in this fight. Movement, unpredictable, lateral, struggling, desperate movement. The Smilodon recoils, not far, but far enough, and in recoiling, it opens its jaw wider to bring the sabers into position for a strike. And in opening its jaw wider, its bite force drops to 230 pounds per square inch. And the lion's jaw is already moving toward the Smilodon's face, with 650 pounds per square inch behind it. The bite lands on the Smilodon's muzzle. Not the throat, not a killing bite, but enough to produce pain and disorientation and the exact kind of lateral head movement that the saber teeth cannot survive if they are embedded in anything at that moment. They are not embedded. But the threat of what that movement would do is now physically present in this fight. And the Smilodon, whose entire evolutionary history has been teaching it to avoid this scenario at all costs, hesitates. Phase 4. The outcome. Hesitation in a fight between apex predators is not a pause, it is a transfer of momentum. And momentum, once transferred, is very difficult to recover. The lion does not hesitate. It has been in fights where hesitation meant losing a kill to 15 hyenas. It has been in fights where hesitation meant a rival male claiming its territory. It does not have a hesitation setting in close combat. It has a press forward setting and a disengage setting, and right now it is pressing forward. It goes for the throat, not with the precision of a killing bite, with the sustained gripping pressure that its jaw was specifically built for. 650 pounds per square inch clamped on the side of the Smilodon's throat below the jaw, and it holds. This is how lions kill. Not one strike, sustained, suffocating pressure until the prey stops moving. It works on wildebeest, it works on zebra, it works on Cape buffalo that weigh twice what a lion does. And it works here because the Smilodon, trying to reposition for a saber strike, cannot do what it needs to do while its airway is being compressed. The Smilodon's forelimbs are still enormously powerful. They rake across the lion's back and flanks, producing wounds that in any other context would end a fight immediately. The lion does not release. Its pain threshold in combat is not the same as its pain threshold outside it. It has been selected for the ability to absorb damage and maintain grip. It is absorbing. It is maintaining. The Smilodon cannot get the pin, cannot get the controlled position its teeth require, cannot produce the stillness that is the only safe operating environment for its primary weapon. And with its airway under sustained compression, its movements are slowing, not immediately, but progressively, the way all oxygen-deprived muscle slows, gradually, and then faster. The saber teeth never land a strike. They come close. In the first 30 seconds of close contact, they are close enough that a centimeter of positional difference would have changed the outcome entirely. But close is not contact, and contact without the pin is a broken tooth. And a broken tooth is a dead Smilodon on a longer timeline than this fight, but a dead Smilodon nonetheless. The fight ends in approximately 4 minutes of sustained close contact. Not because the Smilodon was weak, it was not weak. Not because the lion was faster or larger or more impressive by any measurable standard. It was not larger. Because the lion's weapon system, sustained jaw pressure requiring no specific positioning, worked in conditions of chaos. And Smilodon's weapon system, requiring controlled stillness and precise deployment, did not. The Smilodon was not a bad predator. It was one of the most successful predators in North American history. It dominated its ecosystem for hundreds of thousands of years and produced prey mortality rates that no modern predator matches. Against the animals it was built to hunt, giant ground sloths, prehistoric horses, young mastodons, animals that it could ambush and overwhelm and pin before deploying the teeth, it was essentially without equal. The lion was not a better predator. It was a different predator, built for a different kind of fight. Flexible where Smilodon was committed. Generalist where Smilodon was specialist. Is a different problem than Smilodon on open ground against a lion that has time to read the approach. Change the terrain by 20 meters and the outcome changes. That is not a coincidence. That is what it means to be a specialist. You are extraordinary in the conditions you were built for, and vulnerable in the ones you were not. The lion wins on open ground. Smilodon wins in dense cover. And the most important lesson both animals teach is the same one. The best weapon in the world is useless if the conditions required to deploy it are not present. And in a world where conditions change, the animal that can fight in more conditions wins more often. Not always, but more often. And more often, across enough generations, is how evolution decides everything. If ancient animals meeting conditions they were never built for is what keeps you watching, our last video is the deepest version of that story we have told so far. Watch the animal that survived every extinction on Earth next. 450 million years, 5 mass extinctions, 1 body plan, 0 updates. And right now, its blood is worth $60,000 per gallon and is keeping human medicine safe. The oldest animal alive has the most modern job on Earth.